I hope you can hear me clearly. I've seen in the recordings that the recording sound is very bad. With earphones, but the recording was not better, so I'll do it in the same way. If anybody would like to come in and talk about something, you're welcome. Please do so. Is there anybody who dares to start the conversation? Actually, one friend from Germany, Lutz, he suggested that I would ask people to write question already before the satsang. Actually, I'm not too much in favor with that idea. I think it's more when we have a dialogue. It's more than the words, and when we have a dialogue, we connect. But still, the idea is there for the next time if somebody feels rather shy to speak up on Zoom, knowing it's being recorded. You can for the next time also send questions before. I will give total priority to the conversation, to those who want to talk. But if there is space in between where nobody talks, I may take up questions that have been asked by writing before the satsang.
Hello, Werner.
Hello, Nelly.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Werner. Do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you wonderful.
Okay. I have a question about Tibetan exercises. As far as I know, you do these exercises.
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah.
Are you, do you hear me? Yeah.
Somebody is interfering.
Yeah.
I don't know. Now there we are again. Let's see. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
The 5 Tibet. You mean the 5 Tibetans, huh?
Yes, I want to ask you about these exercises because some months ago I read a book about them and I got a lot of motivation to do them. And
Yeah.
I had been doing these exercises for some months. But some days ago I understood that I don't want to do them anymore. That I have, yes, I have my own complex of exercises that I like more. And I dropped doing that Tibetan exercises.
Yeah.
And I want to ask one thing. When I was reading the book, I saw that the authors told that if you start doing these exercises, they are very energetically, and you should not stop doing them, because otherwise you will feel something like destruction, destroy yourself, something like this. And I was very doubt about this.
Yeah,
That
now you're scared. You're scared having stopped them.
I can't say that I'm very scared, but it surprised me. I think it's impossible. If I start doing something, I should do it all my life. Even if I don't want to do them anymore. I wanted to ask your opinion about it.
Yeah. No, it's a complete exaggeration when they talk like this, that once you start, you never should stop. It's exaggerated. But with this energy, oops, Nelly, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. Yes,
Oh,
I'm
you're still
here.
here.
I hear you. I just
Yeah.
switch off my I switch off my microphone when you talk, so that
Oh, because it's
not
recoupling.
not to interfere. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's like with the pranayamas. When you start exercises like this, then the body has to adjust. The whole system has to adjust to that. And then the body gets used and feels like doing it, feels like daily repeating it. And then when you stop it, the body has to adjust again to the new situation. But it's not that if you have done them for some time and then you stop, then there is a big trouble that is coming. It's just the body has to again adjust that you don't do that energy exercise. So it's no harm if you do them for some time and you stop them. But it's not so good to do them for some time and then to stop them for some time and then to do them for some time and then stop them for some time. Then the body has always to adjust to the new situation. Like with pranayamas, it's better that you do less but do them regularly than doing a lot and then stop again and doing a lot and stop again. With these energy exercises, it's better that you have a certain regularity. I mean, you can be a bit flexible. You can increase them for some time, reduce them for some time. So if you don't want to do the Tibetan exercises anymore, then you simply don't do them. If the desire comes back that you want to do them again, you start them slowly, and maybe you keep them. You do only a few instead of what they recommend 21. You do only a few and do them regularly. So you can also eventually start them again if you feel like, but don't start and stop and start and stop and start and stop. But either you do them or you don't. And by the way, for your information, about 1.5 years ago, I stopped doing them. I've been doing them for 25 years, and there's no bad effect that I'm not having done them for 1.5 years. And maybe one day I feel like doing them again, but the effect that I got from them, I'm getting so easily now simply by consciously breathing. And otherwise I was quite busy, so somehow it happened that I stopped doing them, and it hasn't done me any harm. Don't be afraid.
Okay, Werner. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hello. Hello, Werner. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Ah, hello.
Hello, here's Jana.
Yeah.
I met you 3 years ago in Tiru, and now I know from Manuela and your satsang. So thank you so much to meet you in this way. And my question is, at the moment, it's quite tough for me here in Germany, and I feel my nervous system is quite alert. So my question is, do you have any suggestions for regulate the nervous system? And
Yes. Yes, and
and out of your experience, yeah, what is the best that can down to relax again? And yes,
are you doing any regular exercises?
Mm, you mean in sport or you mean spiritual?
Yeah, they can flow together.
Yes. As I'm so activated my nervous system, normally I do yoga, I do jogging, I meditate and things like this. But
Yeah, yeah.
nervous system is so activated. I have even problems to meditate. I'm not feeling like doing much.
Yeah. Don't push much the meditation when you feel your nervous system is already a bit strained. But
Mm.
you can do some meditation, do a lot of relaxation. That whatever you're doing, you in between, you can always, whatever you're doing, just stop and relax. And also when you're doing your exercises, remind yourself to relax. Relaxing is very important. Now, there is one yoga exercise that I can recommend you that is very helpful to strengthen the nervous system. That is the Trikonasana. Do you know what that is?
Asana, a triangle.
Yes, that you go with the right hand to the left foot, and with the left hand you go up towards the sky.
Yeah,
And then
triangle.
by
Yeah,
breathing out and then breathe in, stand up, breathe out with the left hand to the right foot, the right hand goes up. And then stand up, breathe in, and breathe out, and breathe a few times regularly. And do this another time and another time, maybe 3 times every day. And each time after doing it, you tell yourself, my nervous system is getting stronger and stronger. And it works.
Okay.
Are you feeling affected because of the whole fear and the whole stories that have been going on about the coronavirus?
Um, for sure as well, because I sort of can't work now. But also,
Yeah.
and also I get when I came back from India this year, I became a letter that I can't work at the place where I can where I worked before. So it's a quite tough situation for me at the moment. And
Yeah,
this
yeah.
just yeah.
Have you the possibility to go into nature near? Are you in the midst of a city, or do you have access to very beautiful nature places?
That's my biggest resource, and I go as often as it is possible for me. I'm in nature. I know it's the
Yeah,
most best place I can be, and I use it very much. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's very helpful. Go to the
Yeah.
forest. Just don't be afraid. It's a special time. Energies are changing. It's a special time. Energies are changing all over the world, and so one may be in different ways affected by it. It's best not to it's best not to react, not to resist. I'm sorry. I'm quickly putting off the microphone. Some people are interfering. So now, sorry, I have muted everybody because there was no background noise disturbing. Can you come in again? Because I have also, as I have muted all the microphones, I have also muted yours in course of the process. I hope you still can hear me. If you say something, you come back in. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you, Werner,
yeah,
and
now you are back again.
yeah.
But I was saying the energies are changing and it has all kinds of effects on the body. So try not to resist, try to accept that sometimes you may feel like that, feel a bit tense, and relax as good as you can. The more you can not resist to the situation and relax, the smoother it goes.
Yes, easy said.
Yeah.
And hardly done.
But you can remind yourself not to resist instead of when you catch yourself that you are fully resisting, that just a reminder already is doing something. Just accept, don't resist, relax. If you say to yourself things like this, it has an effect, even if you cannot relax completely.
I know that Hingabe, what is the English word? Devotion is a big key, and I hear it and I know it, and I sort of feel not an access to it. Because, yeah, my resistance is, I think, still quite strong to find the access to Hingabe. It's not devotion. I don't get the word now.
It's devotion.
Okay.
Hingabe is devotion. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, but when you're meditating, what are you doing? What kind of meditation are you doing?
Just sitting.
Just sitting quietly.
Just sitting, or sometimes I listen to some guided meditation.
Ah, yeah, yeah. If you don't feel particularly drawn to devotion and the devotional approach, then don't worry about it. You need just enough devotion to continue. Right. And the heart gradually will open all by itself. You cannot do that artificially. But already the attempt to accept what is happening, to accept the present moment, to accept your experience is already an act of devotion. How much you are successful, it's not really in your hand. What is in your hand, that you remind yourself, that you make the attempt, that you try it again and again. That is in your hand. How successful you are each time, you have no control over that. But the very reminding yourself, okay, stop resisting, let go, relax, let go, accept what is and make the best out of it. If you talk to yourself like this, then it has an effect. If you do that again and again, gradually, it's getting easier and easier, and eventually it will come naturally.
Okay, it's a lot about trust as well. Huh?
Right. Anyhow,
Okay,
I wish you well.
Yes, I'm here with my partner, and he also has a question. Can we just move it to him?
Yes, you're welcome.
Nice to see you.
Hello.
Hello, Werner.
Hi, Michael.
Hello.
Thank you for your time. My name is Michael. We met also in Cleveland.
We met?
And yes,
Ah,
I came with
yes.
Werner to the satsang.
3 years.
Yeah. Right,
Mhm.
right.
My question is related to that what she said. It's like out of this energy moving, I feel myself that I have more and more like the tendency to withdraw from the world.
Uh-huh.
It's like I don't go so much anymore together with people or in meetings. And if I go, I feel myself very soon like being drawn into a discussion about Corona, what we should do, and it's dangerous, it's not dangerous, and all this sometimes leads me to a very strong action. I get angry or whatever,
Oh, I see.
and about myself and about others. So I see myself more and more finding space with myself. And now my question is not so much about me. It's we are in a relationship, and I see myself more and more into difficult situation with my partner. It seems that maybe that's just an explanation that her tense and the energy that is tense, I'm also tense, that my ability to be with her in a peaceful, relaxed space is getting less and less and less.
Yeah. Right.
So when I talk to you and you can feel me, there's anything what you, it doesn't have to be a recommendation. What comes into your awareness, what you could say to me about how to be in my relationship more humble and relaxed, and also with myself about my withdrawing from the world.
Right.
Thank you.
I mean, it's nothing wrong that you have the tendency more to withdraw, as long as you feel this is natural. That's what is up for you. That's on your program. Sometimes we may need such periods where we are more withdrawn, as long as you are not withdrawing out of fear, as long as it's not that you're not daring anymore to go out because you are afraid what you are going to confront them, or because you are afraid of your reactions. Then that's not a positive way of withdrawing. But if you simply feel this is good for you to withdraw more, to be more conscious just about what's going on in your own mind, what's going on in your own emotions, observe what is there, and learn to not be so totally pulled into it, then that withdrawing is very good. Now, of course, in such periods where there are more tensions, then usually relationships are also a bit more difficult. Especially if you spend then more than usual in this time in the same space, then the little things can start to get on each other's nerve a bit. Just try to remember as a rule of thumb in a relationship. It's in a relationship of two persons, but basically it's in a relationship with the whole rest of the world. But it's especially intense in a partnership, that as a basic rule, when I feel that I'm getting annoyed, why is she doing like this again? Why are you doing like that? That instead of building up on that thought and that emotion, just turn the attention 180 degrees, look at yourself and think, what am I doing? Why am I reacting? What's the big deal? And first work on your own emotions, see what you're doing to yourself and learn to relax. And if after that you still feel the situation needs to be commented on, you still can comment on. But basically, it's always first ourselves. We have to have a good look at and not point the finger at the partner, not point the finger at the other people, not point the finger at the world and make them responsible for my being tense, for my being not at ease, for my being not well. If basically you have already that intent, when I'm not feeling well, when I'm feeling tense, let me just have a good, honest look at myself. See what I'm doing, see what's going on. And learn to relax that. Learn to see where we have unnecessary contradictions in the mind. And then a lot of tension goes. And then immediately it's getting easier to deal with a partner, to deal with other people, to deal with groups, to deal with the present situation. Just first look at yourself and take some time and see the tension. See what it is doing to your experience right now in your body, energetically. And relax them. Relax your legs, relax your feet. You will be surprised if you have the presence of mind when you start to get angry about something. And if you have the presence of mind to just remember to just look at yourself and see what the emotion is doing in your body, and you redirect the attention to a simple thing like relaxing your legs, you will be surprised to find how much the anger is just simply disappearing. If it's getting too hard to be all the time together, then maybe let's give each other space, a bit more space alone. But basically, it's a matter of learning to not always immediately reacting to the other person, to the circumstancing, but watch the reaction and see actually, well, I'm doing that. I'm doing that to myself. If I'm not reacting like this, then most of the time the situations are not so terrible. My two dog friends have also come to join. Okay. Have I answered your question? Or have I commented to your satisfaction? Are you still here? Oh my God. Am I disconnected? Those two friends I have been talking to, I can't see you anymore. I don't hear any reaction. Are you still there? Can somebody else come in just to show me whether I'm still connected?
You're still connected.
I'm still connected. Very good.
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe there was a disconnection on the other side in Germany.
Connected here.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, Werner.
Hello.
Germany is fine.
Well, maybe if the other two people want to come back, they can come back later. Since you are here, is there something you would like to talk about? Oh, you don't know that you are now connected with me. Alfred E. Newman.
Yes. Hi, Werner.
Hi.
Well, I don't have a particular question, but like most of us, I think about the future. You know, we are in a strange, unknown situation here worldwide,
Yes.
which affects all of us worldwide, which is
Yes.
not happen too often. But once the situation becoming clearer and clearer, we would be at a point zero. And from there, we could start totally different as a society. But if I'm honest, I don't believe in that, because people are more mad than before the coronavirus. Why would they suddenly go after common sense, which doesn't exist or didn't exist before, and I don't think it will become in existence in the future when we start at a certain point zero. What's your thought about that?
Right. I don't think that we are going to a point zero and then start totally all over again new. But there will be changes. There may be some turbulent times to come. Now, as an individual, I cannot make predictions what is going to happen. It depends also, even if there is something hanging that is bound to come, it always changes. The future is not fixed. And the main aspect that changes the future is our human reaction. If the majority of the humans would turn to more common sense, then naturally the whole story would also turn. Our emotional reactions. So as an individual, the best that you can do for yourself is not to worry about the future at all, just to be in the present. Make the best out of the present. That's the richest contribution you can give for a good future. And then whatever is in the future, when that is present, then you are in the present and you deal with it. It's better not to make too much fantasies. Is it going to turn this way, turn that way? The more you can be at ease, at peace in the now, the better for you, and the better what you radiating and what is helping everybody around you. If more people do that, the whole human climate could change, and it can turn into a more positive direction. There are influences that are very positive, and we have a chance as humanity to do something with that. Whether we are realizing it or not, that's up to us. But each one can, for oneself, do what we can do. It's not necessary that we are becoming public activists. If somebody feels like that's their destiny, that's what they should do, then by all means, let them do that. But what matters is how each individual is dealing with what is happening now. And the best is not to worry, to be here, to be now, to relax in that, to be at ease, at peace, and you become aware there is such a joyousness of existence always there. If we don't prevent it, the more you feel of that, the more you can radiate that, the more the whole world is benefited by it.
Yes, I think you're right, Werner. The most important thing is relaxing.
Relaxing, not worrying about the future.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let the future come. Now
Yeah.
is now.
Right.
And only now you are touching reality.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Werner. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else would like to come in?
Hi, Werner. Hello. It's Helen. Oh, hang on. I'll put my
Helen.
video. Yes, I'll put my video.
I hear your voice. Oh, there. Now I see your
Okay.
picture. Hello,
Hello.
Helen.
It's good to see you.
It's good to see you. How are you
Yeah.
doing in England?
Yes. Like the Indian head wobble, I'm not quite sure. Yeah. My question is this. It's about perceived reality. At the moment, I'm in lockdown with my mother, and my mother has Alzheimer, and her Alzheimer is worse because of the fear and everything that's generated because of the coronavirus.
Yes.
And she has periods where she's in a waking state and then disappears into a dream state, which can be either pleasant or unpleasant. And now in my heart, sometimes like I respond with my heart and there is compassion. And sometimes my response is I fall into a black hole with her. What is also happening is that in the mornings, when I wake up from a strong dream state. And then there comes an awareness, of course, I was just dreaming. And then it goes further with when I'm in the waking state is this real? The waking state real? And something happens, which is both joyous, but also very fearful at the same time. It's
scary.
Yeah, because it's like everything is disappearing. It's like and sometimes when I'm with my mum and I see that this is actually unconsciously disappearing for her perception of reality, sometimes I get dragged into this black hole with her, and sometimes I don't, and it's more like advice of how not to disappear into this black hole with her, because I feel something quite crucial is happening with understanding, perception. And it's just, I think, a little pointer is to how to not fall into this hole with her. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, it appears to be quite similar, but yet one is a sick reaction.
Yes.
The reaction of a disease, and the other one is really an opening up to something broader, to something vaster. When that comes, when you are being pulled into the black hole, are you becoming aware only when you are totally in it, or you feel it coming?
Sometimes I feel it coming, And sometimes it's the mental vibration is so strong from her that I fall in and I start speeding with her in this panic of unconscious panic. But at some point I catch it because I physically hurt myself. And that brings me back into like, I've been there, and then there's always a point where awareness comes, but quite often I'm already running in this unconscious state with her until something physical. It normally means I knock into something, and then it's, oh wow, yes, I see it now. But yeah, I don't.
But then you come out. Then you come out again.
Then I come out again. Yes, yes.
Right.
And I beat myself up for going. Wow, that's how far I went. Yeah.
Well, the last part is totally unnecessary.
Yes, yes, yes. It's good to voice it, because while I'm voicing it, speaking with you, I'm getting my own answer.
Yes,
yes,
that's the point.
Yes.
You give your answer to yourself.
Yes, yes, yes.
I mean, if it happens, then it happens. Then when you come out of it, then so what? Got me again. But then you are out again, and it's already gone.
Yes.
No point in beating yourself up and think it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. So what?
Yeah, I see my blind spot. That's why I've not been withdrawing from it completely, because there's yeah.
And if you feel it's coming and it's related to your proximity with your mother, maybe if it helps for the time being, you go a little farther away.
Yes.
Step out for some time, take a few deep breaths, center good, and put your feet on the ground.
Yes.
And then you come again. Yes, if you feel it coming and you center and you breathe and you relax, then you may avoid it, that you don't fall into that trap.
Yes.
But the other inquiry is very useful, that you said that when you wake up from the dream and you become aware, oh, it's just a dream.
Yes.
And then the doubt is coming, but is not this maybe also a dream?
Yes. Yes. And that brings great gratitude. That brings great gratitude.
Because if it's not so real as we think it is, then maybe there is no reason to worry at all. Huh?
Yes, yes. And this is where the gratitude comes, because so in a way, this extreme situation with my mother, it's just it's not such a black hole, because on the other hand, there is this consciousness that's arising from it, and
It is not for nothing you were here, and then you decided, no, I have to do that. I have to go back, have to be with my mother. It's not for nothing. Even if when you are there, often you think, oh God, what what did I do? But that confrontation in the long run is maybe an extremely helpful exercise for you.
Yes.
To be alert, to be conscious.
Yes.
To become more self-conscious.
Yes.
Often unpleasant situations, they are the best teachers. So the same as I said before about this, just try not to resist that it is as it is. and then be open to learn from this situation, to let the situation pull and push you what you need to learn. And obviously it's functioning.
Yes. Because when this sense of reality is shaking, there is sort of like, I know it's not just gratitude, just it's wonderful. It's short-lived, but it is I can't describe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you understand why I have said so many times in the satsang, don't take this damn story so serious.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Anyhow, you're doing good.
Yes.
And if sometimes at moments it's just too much, then try to take at least temporary a bit distance, that you have time to regroup, and then you come back and confront the situation again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
But you're doing fine. You're doing fine. Go on like this.
I feel it right now. I feel it. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. It's very good to speak with you. Yeah.
You're always welcome.
And again, much love to Sudha also. Yes.
Okay, I haven't talked about it. Sudha met with an accident.
Oh.
She ran on the toilet and slipped in the bathroom and hit hard her hip and her knee. So since 10 days she's in bed. She can't walk.
Oh.
I had even to carry her to the bathroom and back. So slowly she can make a few steps as long as I'm putting the weight on my shoulders. Yeah, but she's very brave and courageous, and she's doing fine and slowly getting better.
Will you send her all my love? All my love.
Yes, I will tell her. I will show her this part of the recording.
Yes. Sending this to Sudha.
Okay. Wish you well.
Wish you well. See you.
Anybody else who would like to come in? Would anybody like to speak? You just have to turn on the microphone and the camera.
Werner?
Yes. Oh, hello.
Hello. I would like to ask you because the other day I was listening to another teacher and he was talking about the difference between following your heart, but sometimes what your heart wants to do is not your dharma, it's not your duty. So not always you have to follow your heart. And could you talk a bit about that, please?
Yes. It depends what you mean with following your heart. Because we can also think that whatever mood comes to my mind, whatever little desire comes to my mind, that maybe that's my heart that is really wanting that, but it may be just a momentary mental thing. Following the heart is basically never going against your dharma. But on the surface we may think, okay, my heart tells I would like much more to do this, but I shouldn't do this because it's going against my dharma. But you must know that your dharma is not necessarily defined by a tradition or somebody else, but your dharma is coming out of yourself. What is right and what is wrong is not defined by society, is not defined by a spiritual or religious community, but it's defined by yourself. And if you feel like doing something and you really feel it, really from your heart, then you have the right to do that, even if your mind tells you, but maybe according to this and this dharma teaching, this is not the right thing to do. Because the dharma teaching is a general guideline, but then each one's story is something totally unique that you cannot put into a mold of any tradition. But if you feel momentarily doing something destructive, that doesn't mean it's coming from your heart. It simply means you have a momentary mood. And if you really listen deeper into yourself, then deep down from your heart may not necessarily be the okay to do that destructive thing. So try to really relax into your heart when that conflict comes, when you feel from your working from your heart, acting from your heart would contradict your sense of ethics or your dharma, then really let it go deeper, your attention, as good as you can. Relax into that. Don't brood over it. Should I do it in spite of that? Should I not do it? But from deep down. And the more you do that, the more familiar you become with it and the more you can trust it. And sometimes it's right, if it feels right for yourself at that moment, to do something of which you would have said in other situations, I shouldn't do such a thing. If you're really okay with it, then it's right. But then when you do it, then after doing it, when it's right, then you're not questioning yourself, oh my God, what did I do? Was it wrong? Was it wrong? Am I going to be punished? If that comes, then maybe it was not really coming out of the source, out from yourself, but more a mental thing that says, and now I want sometimes to break out of my usual rules. But sometimes it may be good to break out of your usual rules. I cannot give you a concrete way where you can make for sure that it is coming from your heart. But learn to trust yourself. Be honest with yourself as good as you can and learn to trust yourself. But when the dilemma is there, instead of trying to figure out, just let the dilemma be there and just relax into that. Relax into yourself. And eventually it may come out quite clearly. Okay, it's okay to do that, or no, it's better not to do that. It should be natural that we can do that, but we have learned not to be natural. So it's like we have to learn something new. And it's like when we learning something new, when we learn a new art, when we learn a new instrument to play music. In the beginning, we have to struggle to make a nice sound, and then gradually we can make little tunes, and as more as we practicing, the easier and the more natural it comes. And like that, following your heart, then we have to learn. But if you really are in an impasse in a situation where you don't know whether this really comes from your heart or not, then just come back to common sense and do that which makes the most amount of sense in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, for me it's very clear because it's something that I'm feeling since a long time ago, and I mean, it's very clear, and I know that I'm not harming anyone, and but on some way, when I was the other day talking with that teacher, it's like, okay, you need, it's like always the system on some way is telling you that you have to focus, you have at the end to go into society in the way it's working with. I'm not totally agree. I'm trying to find another way not to be in, and my conflict is there actually. It's like, no, it's always hearing that voice outside of me, no, that on some way you have to adapt to society and work on it. I would like to be there, but in a very different perspective, no? So, I mean, that's where I have my conflict, yeah.
Right, right. I would say as a rule of thumb with the society, don't offend the others unnecessarily.
Yeah.
But if you have to compromise with yourself, with what you feel is right for you, is better for you, then it's much better that you follow that which you feel is true for you, notwithstanding if others don't like it around. That you know, you don't go out and hurt people unnecessarily, but sometimes in this world, you cannot do things that everybody likes it, no matter what you are doing. Some people like it, some people don't like it. No matter how you behave, some people think it's great what you're doing, and others think you are completely nuts. Why are you doing that? So you have to be at peace with yourself. And if that means that some people really take offense about your action, then so be it. You cannot be a slave to do it for them. You have to do the right thing for yourself. This noise is some interference from a bunch of birds that are sitting in front of our windows and attacking themselves in their mirror. And they're doing it since a month and they haven't yet quite gotten it, but there are no birds inside the house. Anyhow, act that you are fine with yourself, that you are at peace with yourself. And sometimes you can be accept, okay, I have to make a compromise and it's fine. I'm fine with it. But if it's going completely against your grain, then follow your heart, follow what you feel is right. And even if the people around, they are not happy about what you're doing, even if society thinks it's not the right thing to do. If I simply would have followed what society dictates, I certainly wouldn't have ended up in India, and I mean since 40 years in India.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're true to yourself, then some people will be offended all the time, but those who are closer and may be offended for some time, then more and more they start to be respectful, that you're just pulling through the way you think is right. and have the guts to do so.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Werner. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
I'm just saying to the same subject we have just now talked about. As she said, the teacher said something, and now it's disturbing. It depends, of course, how much one is involved with the teacher, whether there is that close teacher-disciple relationship. But if that is the case, then maybe one has to discuss with the teacher and clear things up. But if that is not the case, but even if one thinks the teacher is a good teacher, you take from a teacher what resonates and helps you. And if you have stuff that really rather is handicapping you and it comes back all the time, then it's better to drop it and learn to follow the teaching that comes out of yourself. Your final teaching, your final teacher is yourself. The external teacher's role is to somehow make you aware, look, it's already there in you. All that you're looking for, it's already there. All that you're looking to get from me, you don't need to get from somewhere. All the wisdom, how to deal with yourself, with the world, with everything, is already there. This is the main role of a teacher. And if a teacher is not fulfilling that role, then he may be a good teacher, but maybe not your teacher. And you have the right to go ahead and find your way.
Okay.
I told that to everybody, but of course also for yourself. But I don't want to somehow dig into the details of your story. Is there anybody who would like to come in?
Werner?
Hello,
Hi.
Andrea?
Yes.
Yes, Andrea.
Hi.
Hello.
I wanted to ask about more about this heart, because many times I hear people speak that the heart is not open and that we should cultivate to open the heart. But I also heard other teachers say that the heart just is, and that we should do is disidentify from the difficult emotions, or even from the personality that is criticizing these difficult emotions. So what would be your way to go with this?
Right. You cannot artificially open the heart, but you can have a good, honest look at yourself and see what is preventing it, and then learn not to. And this natural. Be in touch with yourself as good as you can. Be as conscious as you can. Consciously in the present. Learn to be relaxed in it. Detached from the things that pull you down, that make you heavy. The more you do that, the more your heart is opening all by itself. It's it's not something that you artificially can do and decide, okay, from now on, my heart is simply open. From now on, this love is simply overflowing. We can do that artificially. It would be a natural state. It should be natural that this is happening. But as we have learned not to be natural, as we have grown up in a world of people, full of people not natural. So it's just totally normal that we have learned to be unnatural and to clutter our mind, to clutter our psyche with a lot of stuff that prevents that naturalness from being there. So I would definitely adhere to the second aspect that you said. You just see what it is preventing it. You just see what is creating tensions in the mind unnecessarily. You just see what what is always pulling you into that mood of me. I have to defend myself. I have to defend myself. I have to fight for my personal rights. When you see these things and learn to let go, then the heart is naturally opening more and more all by itself.
Thank you.
I mean, some people try to open the heart with devotional practices. And the devotional practice is not doing anything else than what I'm talking. Bringing the attention to the present and seeing how we are creating disharmony and learning to let go. You cannot with devotional practice artificially open the heart, but the devotional practice can also help you to become aware what stands in the way and let it go. Any sincere practice will help you to do that.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hello, Werner.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, and now I can see you. Hello.
All right, hello. I have a question about being each other's mirrors and projecting onto each other. Because I made the experience that actually anything is a projection. So I feel very often that I might trigger things in other people, and then everything they say, maybe accusations, that this is more about themselves than it is about me. And I find it difficult then in how to respond, because I don't want to be like a therapist or a teacher or accuse, like tell the other person, but you have to kind of look at this because it is yours. So I try then when I'm triggered to look at my own things and kind of go inside of myself to deal with it, which makes the other person maybe sometimes feel that I don't want to be in contact or don't want to work on it, but I don't feel that it is actually a work you do together, because you trigger each other, but then everyone has to do the work for themselves to see what is actually being touched. And I don't really know how to articulate myself, I guess, in maybe because sometimes you understand?
Can you understand what you're talking about? Yeah.
Okay. So maybe you have something to tell me how I don't want to hurt also the other person or or try to be like above it to see kind of the patterns, but I often feel I maybe do see certain things. Yeah.
Well, I cannot give you a magical formula that is after that applicable in all the life situations.
Okay.
Each situation is new and unique, and so we have to deal with it again new and open. But basically it's good to first look at oneself, but to start to point out to the others, you have to look at that. But that doesn't mean that we cannot discuss with each other. If both are open to that, then we can maybe inspire each other to have a good look. But if the discussion is getting into shouting much, then maybe it doesn't help much.
Yeah.
But we can get impulses mutually. If we are two persons, that the other person may see something that is from outside clearly visible, but we don't want to see it so clearly. But only if the two are ready to really sincerely go deeper, to really want to look at themselves, not simply the two people are together and each one is trying to point out to the other what's wrong with them. That doesn't lead anything. Basically, you're perfectly right. Look at yourself. When there is such a situation, you may feel okay, you triggered something, and then there comes a lot of stuff out which has not necessarily something to do with you, but you can still have a look at you and see what of all that stuff that comes towards you is really resonating. Why is it hurting? Why is this part hurting? Why is that remark hurting? So there, I'm still holding on to a little bit too much self-importance, that I'm taking myself too serious, and it would be good to let that go. But at the same time, I mean, especially if you are living with people, it's nothing wrong to discuss with each other, to say, hey, if we want to live peacefully together, then maybe there and there some adjustment should be made. But as a rule of thumb, it's always first us. When I'm feeling hurt about what some people do or say, instead of getting into the thing, they don't understand me. They are projecting their stuff onto me. Why I'm getting hurt? Somewhere it hits home. Although I may not like it, but there may be some truth in it. That's why it's hitting home. That's why I feel hurt. Because if I'm sure that it's complete nonsense, then I may not particularly like it, but it's not hurting. As long as I'm hurting, it's best to look, oh, there is some more to work on myself. Let me do that job. And then see whether I have to point out things to others. But if you said then sometimes they feel you want to withdraw and you don't want to work on something, then if they want communication, then communicate. But at the same time, while communicating, try to observe your reactions, observe your feelings. The more,
I just feel that if I criticize someone or would point things out, I would not unconditionally accept the other person, and I try to do that because the person is who she is or he is at that moment of time, and I don't want to change that. I want to be able to fully see that person for who that person is, and rather look at my own things being triggered. So it's
right.
Yeah.
Your idea is basically perfectly right. Accept people the way they are. But I mean, there is always room for improvement.
But it should be out of an own interest and wanting.
Right.
No, right? Yeah.
The openness has to be there. Otherwise, you can go after people and point out, and they just throw stones after you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Be open yourself to let go of things that are rather hurtful for yourself and for others. And you can very well point out things to others if they are open. I mean, if you have to live in the same space, you have the right to point things out if they just are, if they don't make sense. That the living together could happen if a person behaves in a certain way, then some adjustment have to be, even if you can accept them the way they are.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much, Werner. Thank you. Thanks.
Is there anyone who would like to come in? Let's take a break and look at Arunachal. Didn't work. There it goes. There is our little friend Jasmine, who is also attending the satsang without being tied this time. Majestic as usual. Good work, Arunachal. Slowly disappearing. Oh, there we are again. So, anybody who would like to talk now? Vero's screen. There's a picture has appeared. I don't know whether this was intentional.
Hello, Werner.
Yes, hello.
Hi, it's Kirsten from Denmark.
Hello, Kristen.
It was so nice to see Arunachala.
Yes, it's nice. It's always nice.
Yeah. When Rebecca was talking, I had kind of the same question, and now that I saw Arunachala, I have to ask for myself also, even it's a little bit the same like Rebecca.
Yeah,
So
doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's like 4 years ago, I felt that it was time for me to work less and have more time or space for time without work. I wouldn't say for spiritual practice, because in a way also the work is that. But then a lot of things happened, and I felt that life was presenting me for some task I had to go into. Even like there was some part of me that didn't want to, but it was just like life really wanted me to go into that, and with a big responsibility, a lot of work, a lot of administration, and not so much time for my own, what I would say, practice.
Yeah.
And I have been enjoying this lockdown so much. It happened 2 days after I came back from India. Everything locked down. My yoga center had to close. And of course, a lot of people are very sorry about it. I'm very happy because it has been such a great time for me. So now that kind of ignited that fire. Oh my God, it would be so nice, to kind of step up of society a little bit more. So I felt very much when Rebecca was asking that question, it's also my dilemma. And now that I was listening to your answer and looking at Arunachala, it was also like, I mean, the problem is not the work, but more my attitude to it. Yeah. And then I thought, I would like to ask the question to you also, or have some reflection on it, this with feeling that my dharma is to take care of this, and then there's a part of me that wants to run away from it. If I could just sit on Arunachala, everything would be so great. I know it wouldn't, but anyway.
Right. Well, do basically the simplest, that which you basically feel is right. Of course, we may always, no matter what we are doing, then comes the moment where the emotion comes and think, oh, why did I start it? Why did I do this? It would be so nice to do the other thing. But that doesn't mean once we started something, we are condemned to continue the same thing for the rest of our life. And if you feel that this has been very helpful for you, this period where around the world people just were forced to calm down, to stay home, not to be busy all the time, that this has been helpful, then you can continue whatever you have built up, whatever you have been involved in, but take your breaks, where you just have time, sometime, to just be yourself, for yourself, withdraw externally if it's necessary, and if you can stay in the same place and still do it, you can also stay in the same place. But you have the right to take these breaks. And then if it should somehow crystallize itself out that, no, it's time that you really want to go for a life like this, then go for a life like this. But if you would try to force that, and it's not really naturally what it is on the program, what it's time for you to do, then you would find within short time that you would be in your retreat, in your withdrawn state, and always thinking, oh my God, why did I leave? Why did I leave all this? And want to go back. So do what you feel is right to do. And if it starts again that you are being very active, then don't resist against the fact that you are active. At that time, be here, be now in your activity. Whatever you are doing, whether you are lying or sitting or walking, whether you are alone or with people, whether you are silent or whether you are talking, that you remember there is that aspect of you that is not affected by it. It's always there. It's never absent, even if we forget about it. Remember that, and then everything becomes practice. Your external work, you're dealing with people, you're carrying responsibility, sometimes be very busy. If you don't get completely lost in that busyness, but at least every now and then stop a moment, take a breath, and remember, but there is that aspect of me that is not at all affected by any of it. And then relax into that. Then everything becomes practice, not simply when you go in retreats, when you withdraw. But if you feel stronger and stronger that you have at least to take periods, then by all means do that. And then in in those periods, maybe it becomes stronger and stronger and stronger that you don't want to do anything else anymore. And then it's right, and then it's fine. But for most of the people, actually, it's a very, very useful, very helpful experience to be totally involved in the society, in the family, on the job, with the friends, being busy, and then have periods where you withdraw from that, where your whole usual surrounding is not there, and you can spend your undivided attention being self-aware and dive deeper into that. We'd like charge your batteries and then go back into the activities. For most of the people, it's very helpful to change from one to another. But wherever you are, don't resent being there. That doesn't help anything. Okay, I'm here, I'm now, and here and now you are touching reality, no matter in what situation you're. It's only here and now. It's not when you are in Denmark that you think, oh, if I was at Arunachala, there I would touch reality. No, it's here now, only here now.
Thank you.
Be here, be now, make the best out of it, and then let life take its turns. And from moment to moment, you will get the idea, you will get the pointers where to go. If you learn to listen, then from moment to moment we get the pointers in which direction to turn. And even if we have to make bigger decisions in our life, then somehow or other it's coming, it's crystallizing itself out. So don't worry about and think maybe I'm doing the wrong, maybe I'm doing the wrong. You're here, you're now, you're doing the right thing, because you cannot do anything else but be here and now.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you feel your question is answered.
Yeah, it's a lot of inspiration, and also I get very moved from hearing words. So it's
Yeah.
touching a true place. Yeah, thank you.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
And I would like to say something else, because the first 2 times you had the satsang, I was listening to it on YouTube, and I thought it was very great. But I must say there's something special about being here in Zoom, and also being together with other people out there in all places in the world. It's very amazing. It's really like it's a worldwide satsang. It's so beautiful to be in that here now also. So yeah.
Great.
Thank you for
Great.
creating that space. It's great.
It's certainly not simply the words, and the recording is not the same thing. But even with the recording, one may open the heart and connect with that space. But that we are here now from different places and tuning in together, that does something. That does something very positive. It's when we are sitting here in the winter season and doing satsang, what I'm talking is not really the important thing. That's just that we are sitting here together, connecting and opening the heart is the more important thing. And right now, this is the same. It's not exactly the same, like sitting in the same physical space, but on the other hand, it can include people from all over the world, which is also a great advantage. It does something special, connecting. And that is more important than actually all the details that we are talking about. But still, the talking helps to keep the attention, to keep the current. So you have thanked me to keep that, to offer that space, but then I have to thank all of you to contribute by being present in that space. If there is not from anybody immediately right now something they would like to talk about, and I think we're slowly coming to an end to today's satsang. I'm doing the same thing like the last few times. I'm going to turn off the recording. Now the recording